Jason's alive. He killed my friend, now he's coming for me.
He's got a death curse.
Jason's a legend.
I'm Mrs. Voorhees, an old friend of the Christies.
Jason belongs in hell.
You're doomed if you stay here. Never come back again.
You see, Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Return to Camp Blood. I am your host, Nathan Barker, and joining me tonight is the drunk uncle, Kent Mullins.
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right, I just want to say before we get started that our last episode, Friday the 13th Fan Film Frenzy, it's gotten a kick-ass, awesome response in the Friday community, and I just want to give a shout-out to all the listeners who are supporting these fan films and helping to keep Jason alive. All these guys that are involved, they're definitely appreciative of the fans and everybody showing support on the Kickstarters, Indiegogos, everybody that's donated or purchased a perk. They just really appreciate all the help. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to everybody and share their stuff. It really, really helps. Even if you think, oh, it's no big deal, but no, every little share helps. And even the last episode, share the link because there's tons of stuff that we recorded, that we covered in that episode. And it's gotten some great exposure. So we really appreciate that and just want to tell you guys thanks. So anyways, moving on to tonight's episode. Actually, before we get started, fairly new news. And speaking of these fan films, I almost forgot. Just after we did the last show, what do I see that pops up? And that is another fan film. And that one is titled Camp Crystal Lake. And apparently it is going to be set in the wintertime. So we will actually discuss that one separately as more information is revealed. There's not much on their Facebook page, but you can go over and check it out. It's Camp Crystal Lake fan film. So any thoughts on that one, Kenton, before we move on?
Nah, I just seen that it was set in the wintertime, and let's just pump the brakes on these fan films a little bit. Just calm down.
Right. Yeah. But we've got, that'll be 6 now. So, I mean, that's my first thoughts. When I seen it, I'm like, is this a fucking joke? And then I click on the page and I'm like, nope, it's not a joke. I'm like, oh shit. Well, goddamn it. We just recorded that other episode and we didn't get this one included, but I literally didn't know anything about it. So the page, I didn't even look to see, but it didn't have that many likes. You can tell they literally just started it. So anyways, moving on, we'll talk about Camp Crystal Lake later. So for tonight's episode, a community spotlight, and joining us tonight is James Ingram from over at J3 Jason Costumes. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being a listener over the years. I know you've messaged me a couple times, and I've had you on the list for a while now to talk about your costuming. And I know there's a lot of people who have recommended you. I see your name in recommendations all the time, and I see your pictures posted. You do great work, and we definitely wanted to feature you. So I'm glad you had time to join us tonight. Oh,
thank you guys. Thank you. I've been listening to you guys for a while. Death Curse Radio, and now this one. I heard you guys merged both of them together.
Yeah, well, kind of what was going on is we were basically the same crew, and we had just stepped outside the box a little bit to do general horror on top of Friday the 13th, right? So with the connections that I have in the horror community in general, not just with Friday the 13th and attending a lot of conventions and stuff, it's like, let's have another avenue to expand. Well, after expanding and doing double the work, and it's like we kept finding ourselves going back and talking about mainly Friday the 13th for the most part. So it's kind of like, why even bother with 2 shows and doing double the work when we can just kind of, I guess, I don't want to call Return to Camp Blood is say again that it's going to be a general horror show from now on. But like I said in a couple episodes ago, sometimes it's pretty quiet at Camp Crystal Lake, right? So in the meantime, if there's not really anything that's episode worthy in the Friday world, we will step outside of camp per se and talk about whatever's current, or maybe an anniversary, or do an interview with somebody just to keep the show in order. So the idea, if we have any downtime, is just to do that basically, so we can keep pumping out regular episodes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, as a listener, it's awesome. I know. I don't think Death Curse Radio is available on iTunes.
No, it's not.
No, so I usually have to listen to the browser through Google, and I have you guys on the iTunes. I do podcasts on the iTunes for Curse or the Camp Blood. So
yeah, that one you can find on all platforms. But with Death Curse, like I said, it was just kind of becoming repetitive, and not because I had basically the same squad, but it was just like, why spend all the time that it takes? Because recording and talking is one thing, but then you've got to do more work to get it out there for people to listen to. So I don't want to say I was getting burnt out, but it was just kind of like, we need to take a break and then kind of regroup and kind of figure out what the plan was. And the plan of attack was basically to just kind of fill in on this show when there's downtime with stuff in the horror community in general, because basically everybody who's a Friday the 13th fan is a fan of horror films in general. I mean, I'm going to assume that anyway. So that's why we kind of decide to go that route with it. And it keeps shows without any delays or anything like that. But either way, we definitely appreciate you, man. Thanks for listening over the years.
Oh, definitely. I can't wait to, I heard you guys are going to be doing some stuff on YouTube now instead of listening. You guys can go, watch kind of like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we're expanding into that aspect too. We're still in the works with that, trying to figure out how we're going to do that. Also doing stuff at conventions and little side horror shows, and interviewing the fans, interviewing some of the celebrity guests that are at some conventions, and just stepping out, just kind of broadening the horizon a little bit and offering more than just an audio episode. Every now and again, we'll be able to do video, but I always like the Joe Rogan. I always watch the clips on YouTube. I don't listen to his show, but I watch the clips on YouTube, or I'll have him playing in the background if I'm working in the shop or something like that. But that setup that he has where they're just sitting there with the camera, that I like that idea. So that's something that we're going to explore. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but with all the applications and technology and with all the podcasting stuff right now, I'm sure we can figure it out eventually. So we'll just have to see.
Sounds like a fabulous idea, man. I can't, hopefully it does materialize.
I hope so. And then of course, with the drunk uncle here, we get a chance to meet up potentially a few times a year if our schedules work out right. So we can add him in the mix with being able to throw him in there when we're doing live stuff, like at a show or whatever, like Horror Hound Indianapolis coming up here in September. The whole squad will be there. We were all there last year, but we'll be there again this year. And we did a Facebook Live there, but I'm hoping to step it up for this year and actually have Ben behind the camera while I'm basically just walking around talking to people. So we'll see. So if you're going to be at that show, we'll definitely feature you there.
Me and Kent go way back. I started, not only did I started doing costumes, I started doing stuff like I tried my hand with a hood. I do work with latex pieces. So I make the whole part 7 get up, the chest, spine, legs, and the gloves. And I've confined it in Kent many a times on, hey man, what should I do? How do I do this? How do I go about that? What paint do I use? And over the years, Kent's been great. And I'm hoping in September I could actually meet him face to face.
I'll be there, dude. And then you probably learn the hard way, as we all do, that you can get a lot of like help and everything over Messenger and everything, but there's a lot of fucking wasted money and materials, and it's still trial and error. So I've watched you get better and better over, because I think you started like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, with the pieces. I mean, how I all started was with just these part 7 pieces. They're not the best. I try, but I want to try to bring these pieces that you can't get at Spirit Halloween or Halloween USA. These pieces are just like, how do you go about them? And some people do offer them, but they're like, what, $1,000 and crazy.
Yeah, they get a little ridiculous.
Crazy. And for these people who are just wanting to go as Jason for Halloween, for one day out of the year, they're not looking to spend like oodles of money unless we really got some diehard fans, and that's when you would hit up Kyle in Canada, say, hey, those late silicone pieces, which are phenomenal, man. I wish I could do that stuff, but to keep costs down to a minimum, these Part 7 pieces are just been fun to do. And people get so excited knowing that they could finally do the costume. And the gloves that you just mentioned. Oh man, I've tried and failed so many times, but hey, I finally got them, man. I finally learned how to, mold them the right way and make sure they're not too big and they're not too small. Kind of like a one size fits all, but like nothing like overly large. Like these Spirit Halloween gloves that you could buy, but yeah, it's all been a learning experience, and I can't wait to buy you a beer.
You don't have to do that. I'll bring the beer, but
well, he can only drink like 3 anyway, so he's a cheap date. Trust me.
Yeah, he's talking. If they're margaritas.
Like, well, hey, whatever floats your boat, man. We'll bring.
We're talking about Bud Light. We're running maybe 1.5, 2 tops before I'm showing my titties. So,
and he wears sleeveless shirts around, and so he's the guy with the cargo shorts and the sleeveless shirts, and the showing himself all over the place. He won't be hard to find, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm the guy that when you see, you go in your head like, that guy has definitely taken part in some kind of incestual relations. There's no way. No way yet.
Oh boy.
That's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you probably heard us talk about Meth Head Ted from the Dollar General in the last episode.
Yeah.
That's like
which one? Which one?
Well, Kenton here, he's just Ted. He's Ted minus the meth head part.
Yeah, I'm too fat for the meth part.
Yeah, he's just Kentucky Ted.
And I've got all my teeth. So
right.
I moved to Kentucky, Bullitt County, actually, for 3 months. Ford was hiring, and I followed someone down, and I thought I would be able to walk right through that door because, hey, they worked there for 20 odd years. I'll put my name down on the paper, and it was a long wait. But for that 3 months that I didn't get hired, it was interesting. And
did you do any heroin?
No,
Okay.
No, I just waited around for a phone call from Ford when they were like, "Hey, man, we got you. We're gonna bring you in," but that never came to light. So I got my ass back in Michigan. And it's like, nah, I was not too long from Waverly Hills. I was about 20 minutes away from there, man.
Oh, they have a haunted asylum.
Yeah, man, that's spooky as hell, dude.
So no heroin. What about, did we make some moonshine when we were there? Did you at least learn how to do that?
Absolutely not, man. I was in some rundown trailer park trying to survive.
Oh, dude, you're already halfway there.
A rundown trailer park in Kentucky. I can't even imagine. Imagine that.
Yeah. But hey, it was one of those things like, hey, man, they're hiring. We bought this trailer like for like $2,000, and we're like, this is just going to get us off our feet. And yeah, that didn't work. But long story short, here I am back in Michigan doing costumes. Now let's talk about costumes. I know I've seen Kent in Part 7 costume on base. Is that correct?
On base? What
yeah. When you were deployed?
Oh.
Was that you?
No, I wore it once in the barracks. Just fucking around. I could have never gotten that stuff on deployment, but yeah, I wore it around the barracks and fucked with people. But it's kind of hard to like shock or freak out a bunch of drunk ass Marines. So, and then I actually proposed to my wife in Part 7 get up. So
that is awesome.
Because I was trying to figure out like the most shocking way to do it to catch her off guard, because it's hard to surprise her. So I thought, I bet she will never expect me to do it in the middle of a convention, which is maybe like the fucking cringiest, nerdiest way ever to propose to anybody. But I did it, and she was surprised. So mission accomplished.
Was that a Scarefest?
Yeah, Scarefest in Lexington. I think 2014.
Okay, I remember seeing the pictures of it, but I wasn't at that particular show, but I remember seeing the pictures of it.
Looking back, probably would have done things differently. Maybe just a beach or something. But like I said, I was just trying to shock her, and I accomplished that. So
that's awesome.
She said yes out of embarrassment, just so we could get out of the building.
Probably.
Now, is that the only costume you own, Kent? Or
I just I'm not a person that I don't enjoy the attention. I don't like people. Whenever people start swarming me in costume, I feel like claustrophobic, and I start having anxiety attacks and feeling like I'm going to start throwing elbows and right hooks and freaking out. And I only wore it I put a lot of work into that, and I wore it that one time, and the like overwhelming, like people, flock you to get pictures and stuff. And
Right.
I fucking hated it. I hated it. And after that convention, I took it off and I never put it back on, and I ended up selling it. So yeah, that was the only one I've ever owned for myself, aside from making I've made a million of them for other people. But as far as myself goes, yeah, that Part 7 was the first and last costume I ever personally owned.
That's pretty cool. With Night Owl pieces, or
That was, I was fresh and I hadn't been doing like sculpting and everything very long, and I painted all that stuff that you've seen, but the hood and the chest pieces, the back pieces, and the legs, all that was from JC Wild. I got them as blanks,
that's
and
awesome,
then I did all the clothes and all that shit, the arm pieces and everything by myself.
That's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. I know Nathan. I know that you work with Ari, and you have the Versus costume. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. I got a full Versus, and then I have a full Part 6. A lot of times, I just wear the Versus costume because my Part 6 is a full face silicone with just the one eye cut out of it from Kyle Huckyluck, and it's a bitch, especially when you're in a crowded venue or at an event somewhere, and that full silicone, it really like throws off your equilibrium because the ears are so tight and you can barely see out of one eye. And I don't wear that one very often. Matter of fact, I haven't worn it in at least a few years just for that. I was thinking about sending it back to him and having him actually open up the face of it just so it'd be more comfortable to wear. So, but yeah, I just currently have those two at the moment.
That's awesome, man. Who did your Versus costume?
John Gerald did the jacket and the shirts. I did the pants and the boots. And I've had several different machetes over the years. Tim Miller. I'm getting ready to get a new one from Ronnie Hunger over in Germany. I got an old sculpt. I got two, and I have two old ELS hoods. And actually, Kent repainted one of them. Because I bought two many years ago, and of course the one took a beating from traveling all over hell with it, and that one's just kind of retired now. And then I had one sitting in the closet, and I sent it over to Kent last fall and had him repaint it. And then Ari and I, we did a show at the University of Illinois, near the University of Illinois. There was the Dark History and Horror Convention, and I wore the hood once, and I got hold of Kent, and I'm like, hey, the paint's peeling off of it pretty bad. I'm going to have to send it back to you. And he's like, oh shit. So I haven't sent it back to him yet. I need to do that pretty soon. So yeah,
the previous owner, I would like to defend myself for just a minute.
Yeah.
The previous owner had sealed that with, I think it was gloss clear coat, like a sprayable Krylon gloss clear coat. So I tried and tried and tried to strip that shit off with naphtha and mineral spirits, alcohol, acetone and everything, and there was just some places where it had been laid on so thick that I couldn't get the paint to adhere no matter how much I tried. So did the best I could with it, but
it looks good. I mean, in the photos it looks good, but the paint was coming off it pretty hard, and I didn't know it. I was in it for probably 3 hours, and I didn't obviously know until afterwards, but I might just end up scrapping that one out and just going with the new silicone from Kyle at this point.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
And Kyle, I think Kyle's pretty hard to get a hold of now. It seems like, I don't know if he has an Instagram account, but I think he dropped off of Facebook.
Yeah, he dropped off Facebook over a year ago probably, and said just hit him up on Instagram, and I said, well, why are you getting rid of Facebook? And Ryan Brazier did the same thing. And he said, it's just easier. And something about, I think he got better responses, through the hashtag world of Instagram. So I guess he just didn't really want to deal with both of them, which I can kind of understand. But yeah, he's the man as far as the silicone goes. And his latex stuff too. I know he doesn't do much of that, but God, that guy is just super talented. And if anybody listening is not aware of Kyle, just go to the website here and scroll through the past episodes. We had him on, I don't know how long ago it was, but super talented guy.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I would love to do what he does with the silicone, but mine is just pretty much geared to those people who would like to go out with their family and have a good time on Halloween and not
The working man's Jason, right? That's the easiest
pretty
way
much,
to
man.
describe it. The working man's Jason, something better than you would get from the garbage that's at the stores on Halloween, but not having to pay that super expensive silicone price. Not that the silicone isn't worth it, because it is, but it's affordable. It's affordable to, I guess, the average person in the Friday community.
Yep. And I don't know if Kyle's doing the Part 7 anymore. I heard he was not.
The 7, I don't think he is at the moment. I know he brought it back for a little bit, and then he took away the 6 and then brought him back, and then now it's away again. And I'm sure he probably just goes back and forth with it. He probably gets tired of doing them for a while. And I'm actually going to send mine to him pretty soon, like I said, and have him open up the face and do a repaint on it. Mine's one of the first ones that he did from back in, I think 2013, I think is when it was. It was one of his first runs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I would definitely recommend him for any of his pieces. But so anyways, kicking things off with your products and everything. So J3 Jason Costumes, let's just first start off a little bit. And why the J3? What's the significance of J3?
Well, I'm the third.
Okay.
And so we just put Jim and just J and 3. And one of my good friends, his name is Derek. He called me J3 like a couple times, and in one of his drunken rants, and it stuck. And okay. I just wanted to use something that represented my name, and just threw on Jason Costumes. I just kind of make it like self-explanatory, like, oh, let's look up Jason Costumes. Oh, there you go. It's in the name. That's what I do. Could I make you a scarecrow costume? Sure, not a problem. But just something that fuels my hobby of costuming and lets me fund. I mean, things are so busy now that you can make a car payment or a house payment or so on and so forth. So this hobby is definitely taken off for me. I enjoy it. On my days off, it gets me in my own office, away from the world, just kind of shut down and just focus. Just I listen to you guys on the radio, podcasts. It's either that, or YouTube, or a horror movie in the background. Either I'm working on like a part 2. Like today, we're working on a part 8, and doing some pieces for part 7, which are very popular.
So obviously the primary focus is Jason Costumes. So just to give the listeners who may not be familiar with your work, just give a rundown of all the products that you currently are offering.
Oh, well, latex products. We, like I said, do the gloves, the chest, spine, legs. I'm trying to think. Though that is pretty much it for latex pieces. I do reach out to other people who do make hoods. Hey, can I have a blank hood? I'm gonna, paint match, this part 7. Anything from a Jason X costume that I just did recently to a part 3. I mean, I think the only one I haven't got a chance to do is actually a Versus costume. I've been eyeballing it for quite some time. I know there's not a big market for it, but I got a hold of John, who did your jacket, and he sells the jackets, and he said, hey man, whenever you need one, let me know. So I'm excited about doing one of those here very soon. But you name it, anything in the Jason world, I do, and I try not to. I try to be humble about it. I mean, there's these people that do costumes out there. They're very how's that word? Very eccentric, I guess, about it. And
you can call them fucking douchebags if you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, we nice. I don't want. Yeah, I'm not trying to say my work is better than that person. No, I just trying to be humble about everything and just.
Well, okay, I can appreciate that, but in reality, some shit just fucking sucks, plain and simple. But you have to start somewhere. So when you started, you weren't at the capability of what you are now, right?
Right. When I started, I was doing like hockey mask blinks. Ryan Brazier sent me $1 for free. It's like, hey man, I see that you're really taking interest in it, and so on and so forth. But I did some pulls. I did painted mini hockey masks for about a year, and it just seems like there's other people who do it so much better than I do, and it's like, yeah, let me focus a little bit more on the costume part and treat it like really good customer service. Like, I mean, if you ordered a costume, from me ordering new Dickies from eBay to, hey, I just got them in the mail. This is a little update for you. Oh, hey, the part, the pants are done. And I just go about like, letting that customer know that, hey, you just sent me like $300 for this costume. I'm going to walk you through each step, say, hey, from start to finish, I'm going to give you that awesome customer service, because a lot of people who do this are pretty eccentric, and it's pretty unfair to the people who really want to reach out, either to ask, hey, how do you do this? And or, hey, how much do you charge? I mean, it reflects,
Absolutely. And like I said, everyone has to start somewhere. Kent started from somewhere with his sculpting and his painting too, and eventually you evolve. I mean, even the Crashes, the Oz's, the Ryan Braziers, all them guys. I mean, they had to start somewhere. If you look at their early work, it wasn't the greatest, but obviously practice makes perfect. So I always try to encourage people and say, hey, just stick with it. Rome wasn't built in a day. So it all in the all in the end, it's about options. And with these movies, the lighting's different from scene to scene, and the hockey masks look different in different variations of light, and so does the clothing. Is it gray? Is it green? Is it what color is it with this? Same with over in the Myers world, and the Myers guys are always debating what the color of the coveralls were, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a matter of vision. So what do you think the hockey mask, for example, or the clothing should look like, right? So that's all what it boils down to, is whatever your vision is and what you think looks the best. Some people will say in the hockey mask world, they'll say that Crash is the best, and I won't disagree with that, or they prefer Oz's work. But either way, I mean, it's in my opinion, I think it's a matter of what your own vision is, if that makes any sense.
True. A lot of the stuff I do try to make it as close to screen accurate as possible. Is it? Yes and no. Some things, with budget, some things like, let's say a Part 7. I mean, we're just doing like light latex pieces here and there, not like the whole entire body. So some of these holes that you need to put in, like the legs, you can't do that, or your junk will be falling out, So,
right.
Certain things like that. I mean, I try to take it as far as I can, within the budget.
It seems, at least from my observation, that your Part 7 is probably your most popular. Is that correct?
That and the 8. The 8, it seems been ever since I did one back in, I think, January. I just threw up some video up on YouTube and up on Instagram, and I get plenty of questions about it. It seems like it's daily.
So what was the motivation behind costuming in general? Was it you saying to yourself, I don't want to buy this fucking garbage at fucking the Spirit of Halloween or whatever them stores are, or I don't want to pay for the silicone pieces, or what was the motivation that got the ball, rolling for you to I guess basically be where you're at now?
2011, man. I got hit up Jason Baker, and Jason Baker taught me everything about costuming. I owe it all to him. I wanted to do, a wonderful Part 3. I just ordered me a Fight Stuff hockey mask blink. I'm like, I got to have a costume to go with it, and I seen one of his videos that he had up on YouTube, and I messaged him, and he told me how to do it. And here I am so many years later. And I still go to Jason here and there and say, hey man, on this remake costume, how do you do it? And because I think he was generally the first one out in California to do some costuming, along with I think Wicked Beard. I think
Jeff Cochran.
Yeah,
I don't know that he was.
California, Nathan.
What's that?
Is Jeff from California?
No,
I've ran into him a few times over here on the East Coast, so I didn't. I was wondering.
I think he's a Midwest guy. I don't know
Gotcha.
exactly where he's from. He might be somewhere near UConn. I'm not 100% sure, but that doesn't mean obviously that he wouldn't travel elsewhere.
Yeah, I run into him like pretty regularly.
Yeah. Jason, I mean, there's a lot of costume people out in California. I don't know if Jason, he was probably more one of the, I guess, pioneers, if you will, on YouTube that was actually giving tips. And most people want to be secretive about shit, and he was actually just saying, no, here's what I do. By all means, here's some tips and tricks so you can do it yourself. And
Jason's a good dude, man. He's a really good dude.
Yeah, I've talked with him several times, and of course see pictures, and he's always involved with some sort of costuming, and he does great work. And he had said before that he gets hit up all the time about costumes, but he's like, I have a full-time job. I don't have time to make shit, only for myself. Yeah. So I can, and I got a lot of respect for most of you guys, simply because most of you guys that I know now, granted, there's some of you guys that do hockey masks or do costumes or both or whatever, and that's a full-time job for you. I can think of several off the top of my head that's what they do for a living, but there's also more of you guys in the hobby that have full-time jobs, and then you do it as a side business.
Oh, so, yeah,
I know what it's like I mean, you're at work all day, no matter, if you work day shift, second, third, whatever your shift might be, but you busted your ass at work, and then you come home and it's like, damn, I got to sit here and fucking shred up this Part 7 costume all night.
Exactly, man.
That takes a lot of hustle mode, man.
Jim's got a kid too.
What?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I got a little 4-year-old. He loves it, man. He's been raised into the Friday the 13th world. He sees a hockey mask and be like, hey, it's daddy. So yeah. I mean,
and the same with Kent. Kent's got a few kids at home and the wife, and he's got a full-time hustle and then the side hustle too. And I can't even imagine really what that would be like. I don't know if I would be motivated enough to do that, but I guess depending on what the circumstances are.
I just wait until the sun sets and the house goes quiet. Everybody goes to bed. That's whenever I head down to the shop. I'd say, Jim, you probably do something similar.
Yep. Like my days off, it's like I take a couple hours to myself just to kind of escape from the whole entire world and just embrace myself into this costuming. And it's fun. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I need it to do it sometimes, just to close the door and, turn on some music and just get away from the world. And I get paid for it. It's not a lot of money. Should I charge more? Sure. Should I make a website and get more? No, I don't want to do that. There's a lot of people who do have websites for costuming, and I feel that it's mass produced. I don't think that the quality is there. The detail is there. The lighting, with the pictures I take, the details don't really show up much, but I mean, if you read all the reviews, man, it's all there, man. Everybody's impressed in what they get. And I just try to be as humble as possible. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun, man. And I hope this lawsuit gets taken care of so we can see more costumes, Well,
speaking of the lawsuit, since that shit's on hold for the time being, and we talked a little bit recently about the fan films and the plethora of fan films, have any of them reached out to you for costuming?
Oh man,
let's see. You can divulge on air anyway.
I did work on recently. Someone I know is going to hopefully be doing a fan film. I did costume for that, and that's very custom. I did a couple years back. This is when CJ Grams announced that he was going to be doing shows. Jason Giuseppe, who made the Part 6 starts, I did a costume for him, and he went to go see CJ, and CJ pulled him aside and be like, hey man, I need you to make one of those costumes. I agreed, and I just recently moved into the new house, started a new job, and it was so overwhelming that I had to tell Jason that I couldn't do it. And it was just not one costume. I think it was 3 to 4 part 6 costumes that I had to do for CJ. And I just couldn't do it. I had to turn it over to one of the good friends. I don't know if he does costumes anymore. I think it's James Maxwell. I don't think he does costumes anymore, but yeah, I turned it over to him, and he did a really good job with that.
I didn't know that you did Jason Gillespie's costume, but yes, Jason went down to Days of the Dead on the first appearance that CJ did in Atlanta, and he did mention that, and I didn't know what had transpired that got James Maxwell to do it or whatever. I wasn't at that show, but I don't know if James still is or not. He's kind of been MIA on social media lately, and I don't know. A while back, I know that he had posted some stuff for sale, and I haven't really seen much out of him. So I was kind of curious. I was actually going to ask if James helped you out at all, because it seems kind of like what I've noticed anyways, it kind of seems like you filled the void that when James kind of stepped back. So when I used to see James all the time, now I see you all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I used to help him out with latex. I started the part 8 in latex pieces. Then I moved over to like silicone GE stuff and hardware store stuff, which is you can if you take the time with some naphtha and some paint, you can morph it. James bounced those ideas off of me, and I used to send those in latex pieces. I did some part 9 costumes for him and for the latex pieces, and I did some part 8 and latex, and we just finally switched over to silicone. But I think there was some serious family issues with James, and I don't think he's doing much very more these days. But we used to work together on stuff, and I always asked him for ideas, and he sent me ideas, and then next thing you know, we don't see him no more. I don't know. Haven't really talked to him in a long time.
Have you had any contact with him, Kent?
No, I haven't heard from him in probably.
It's been a while.
It's been over a year. He bought whenever I made that remake silicone hood, he bought one and showed it off a little bit, and then I think he sold it, and right after that is when he kind of went, like you said, MIA.
Yeah, I remember the silicone hood. I do remember that. That has been a while. But, well, I wish him the best. Like I said, he's been on the show before, too. Like I said, whatever he does have going on, like I said, I definitely wish him the best, and hopefully he'll be back at it again soon. So, speaking of your work, Kent, did you and Jim here, did you guys collaborate when you were doing your Roy hood?
I don't know. Did we, Jim? I've consistently talked with Jim for years, so we could have just been talking about bullshit. And not talked about the Roy hood at all. But I don't know if we did or not.
No, I did ask about hey, what color, skin texture do you use? Because I thought that was very impressive. But no, I don't know who did his costume. Did you do it, the whole thing?
I did his hood. And then my buddy, I think, don't quote me on this, I might be wrong. I think Chuck did his overhaul, his coveralls, and then the hawk was made by man, I'm not gonna say who, because I'm not entirely sure who did the hockey mask.
Well,
Gotcha.
in that matter, I remember I was in you guys' hotel room, and there was like 2 or 3 hockey masks sitting there.
Yeah, they had a few to choose from.
Yeah, he showed me, and I think one was a Tim Schultz, and the other one was either a Crash or an Oz. I know there was for sure 2 of them, and
you can't go wrong with any of those. So
no, yeah,
Nope.
I mean, either way, I mean, he had great work regardless, and
you just need Ryan Brazier added to that, and then you have the trifecta.
Yeah, and there might have even been one of those there. I don't really remember, because that was back almost 2 years ago now. That was Horrorhound Columbus, right?
I can't even. It was the same
20.
one that they had me, that I made that Jack Frost snowman, that life-size Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Whenever that was. It was the
Yeah,
Christmas show.
It was, yep, that's right. It was November of 2017 because it's been almost 2 years ago. So
Jeez.
yeah, Chuck's part 5 looks great. But your hood, you did a fucking awesome job with that, and that, I mean, that was some quality shit right there. That's one of the better part 5 ones I've ever seen.
Well, I kind of felt pressured to really put in maximum effort because I was making it specifically for Tom Morga.
Right. I mean, if fucking Tom Morgan's wearing it, that thing better be on point. But no, he did a great job. Everybody involved there did a great job.
Oh yeah.
Chuck's probably got.
Appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
Looked
absolutely. And Chuck has one of the better part 5 costumes I've seen out there. So Tom was definitely in good hands when it came to you guys. That's for damn sure.
Super nice guy too. I'm sure you've met him, Nathan, Jim, you may have, but Tom is one of the more like down to earth, kind of humble, sweet guys that I've met in all the years I've been doing conventions, celebrity wise.
It seems like that guy's been in like many movies. Not
He was
just
in
like
Pirates of the Caribbean. I didn't even know that until I talked to him.
not just like the Friday 13th, but also Halloween. Is that correct?
He was Michael Myers in part 4. He was Leatherface. He was in Jaws. He was in Ghostbusters. I mean, he's been in all the good shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of fucking films, and some of them he didn't even get the credit for because back then stunt guys sometimes didn't get credited at all. So to hear the stories that he has to say, and you're like, wow, I didn't know you were in this film, or I didn't know you did that. And the guy is definitely been around the block. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah,
and he's a super nice guy, very humble. Just a soft spoken, just nice guy. And you're right, Ken. I have had a chance to talk to him on a few different occasions, and he's like Ted White. He's just got awesome stories. Not that he's the most interesting Jason in the world now, but he's got some fucking kick-ass stories, that's for sure.
And you would never know it was fucking the guy that played Jason Voorhees if you just seen him out and about, because he dresses like the dad that likes to grill out a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing like New Balances and straight like blue jeans and like he's just so like chill,
Yeah. Just got the hair's nice and just combed over and not a hair out of place. Just looks like a guy you'd see strolling around at Home Depot.
Just a guy shopping for a George Foreman grill at Walmart. That's what it looks like.
Yep. Little do you know, this guy's fucking Jason. He's been Michael Myers. He's been
Leatherface. Yeah.
Fuck.
Which Leatherface?
He was in 3.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you have to look him up on IMDb, and like I said, there's a lot from talking to him. There's been a bunch of roles that he didn't necessarily get the IMDb credit for, but I guess that's just how it was back then. So it is what it is as far as the credit goes. But yeah, he had the right guys for his costume. That's for damn sure. So, but anyways, why, Jim? Why Friday the 13th to begin with?
Oh, dude,
This is a question I ask everybody.
It's just like unstoppable killing machine. I mean, from Drunk Uncle Part 3 to Killing Machine Part 4 to Zombie in Part 7 to Frankenstein in Part 6. And I'm going to get a lot of flack of this, but the remake, he was a little bit of both in the remake.
I don't think you're going to get flack for that at all. I fucking love the remake. I know Nathan does too.
Yeah, I do too. There's a couple things I dislike, but that's with every fucking film anyway. But so since you just said Zombie Jason, this is something I was going to address, and I'll probably have to address it a couple times. But so the show gets reviews in various places throughout the interwebs. And the other day, I was going through some of our reviews, and we've gotten I think it was like a 4.58 rating or whatever for the most part. So I'm looking through, there's like 38 reviews, and I'm looking, and then all of a sudden, and I don't know who leaves these reviews because it's not like they leave their fucking name, so whatever. So anyways, one review mentioned that they liked the show and whatever the fuck else they said, and then it was, but hang on, I have one complaint. And that is you guys referring to Zombie Jason as Zombie Jason. But he's not eating people, so therefore he's not Zombie Jason. So He would just be the supernatural or the undead Jason or whatever. So all I'm going to say is I don't give a fuck. I'll call him whatever I want. He's fucking dead. He's moving around. He can be a zombie. I don't give a shit. So if that's our biggest complaint, then I guess we're doing pretty good. But a lot of people do say zombie Jason. I never fucking hear anyone say, oh, well, he was supernatural Jason or he was the undead Jason. You know what I mean? Like everybody, it's almost just like an understood term that he gets referred to as zombie Jason, right?
Right. I mean, look at the lore of actual zombies from New Orleans. I mean, they weren't eating people, but they were under control and they were walking around and they were doing things and they weren't eating people, were they?
Or Haiti.
Or Haiti.
Exactly. Zombies originated. There was never anybody fucking eating brains in Haiti, but they still called them zombies. When did we fucking get together and vote that for it to be labeled a zombie, they have to eat brains? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Well, I didn't fucking get that memo is what I'm getting at. I didn't get the memo.
That's your next podcast. Zombie Jason or not zombie Jason?
Hey, you know what? Good idea. That is a very good idea because we have a couple episodes coming up that we're going to talk some shit and you're either on board or you're not. And that's fine because you don't have to like what we have to say because that's the beauty of it. Just don't listen if you don't like what we have to say. So I usually am I'm pretty respectful and I try to stay neutral on a lot of stuff, but sometimes you just have to open the floodgates, right?
This is a talk show. I mean,
exactly. I mean, and it's not going to be a zing towards anybody in particular. It's just, just some shit we're going to talk. But yeah, that was the criticism, if you want to call it that he had this particular person had a problem with us referring to Jason, as zombie Jason because he wasn't eating people. And I say, I don't give a shit. I'm calling him zombie Jason. If you don't like it, then, it is what it is. And there was a couple people that have made comments. It wasn't just one person. There was probably over the years, there's probably been 3 or 4 people that have said something. So I'm not addressing really one particular person, but a lot of people say zombie Jason. I'm not the only one, but for me, if you're fucking dead and you're moving around, I don't care if you're eating people, you're a fucking zombie, period.
Well, I think also in these times of political correctness and everybody walking on ice and eggshells and concerned and scared about what they're going to say, I think people don't want, when they're listening to something, they don't want another show where a bunch of assholes are just constantly tiptoeing around afraid. I'm just going to say what I'm thinking, and I know you are too, Nathan, and I think people are kind of tired of everybody being so fake all the time.
Yeah. I agree with that. And like I said, it's not about pissing people off. It's not about offending people or whatever. It's just say whatever you want. That's pretty much the rule here. I mean, obviously we do have some limitations, but you know what I mean? And like I said, if you don't agree with it, then that's fine. And we do get some hate mail every now and again, and I expect that, and that's okay. I have no issue with that. So, but Jim, just out of curiosity, since you've been listening to the show for a while, what about the show did you enjoy? I mean, I'm always interested from our guests and our listeners what they actually enjoy specifically about the show.
Well, I started listening to you guys on Death Curse Radio, and I knew Kent from a while back, and it's just you guys bounce ideas off of each other, and it's fabulous. You got the deadpan humor, you got the seriousness, and you got the overall. Hey, you don't like it? Fuck you. So I mean, and you guys, and it's just not like hey, this new Nightmare on Elm Street. No, you guys the details, what you guys are talking about, who started in it, what certain effects was done. And a lot of the podcasts that I do listen to, because I do drive around for about 9 hours a day, I hear all these other podcasts, and they just they miss these details that they could have inserted into the podcast and make it a little bit more interesting. And you guys just nail it every time.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. I guess the big thing for most of us that do this kind of stuff or that are this involved in the franchise, like for me, being so heavily involved in the Friday franchise, it's hard for me to not know certain things that other people might be like, oh, wow, how the hell did he know that? You know, he must be such a geek. All he does is sit around and study Friday the 13th. No, it's just when you hear things repeatedly, especially with social media, it's hard to not know who played a certain character. It's especially when most of your friends or people that you interact with on social media are also major fans too. So, because some of my normal friends, I say normal like it's like they're fucking weird or something, but yeah. So sorry, but they see me out and about, and I'm wearing, you know, all black, and you're wearing Friday the 13th shirts, and it fucking Bob Evans eating breakfast. Everybody looks at you like you're a fucking idiot. Or they come over to the house and they're like, they think you're a serial killer because you got nothing but hockey masks and posters and autographs and figures and you know, you guys know what I mean. So
yeah, my wife was scared of me like before we started dating. She's like, oh, you're that Halloween fan, you know, or the horror movie fan, and I mean, she finally understands after being married to me.
What conventions have you been to recently?
Let's see. They're the Motor City Nightmares. That's the one here in Michigan. Yep. And they got Astronomicon. That's what it's called. I know. Kane Hodder and I'm trying to say Sid Haig and a whole bunch of other guys. They go there. It's a fairly new platform of it's comic based and like horror movie based and comic
and astronauts.
It's pretty neat. The guys from Twisted, they're like a rap group. I'm not familiar with them, but they run it, and they're pretty humble, decent guys. I actually make deliveries to them. So,
did you take your wife to these shows?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
She gets all into it.
Okay, so like when we're all at a convention, it's just you see everybody walking around wearing all black and tattooed up and whatever, and it's a normal thing. But we all know that whenever you fly home or drive home after a convention, and wherever you live at, whatever city that might be, whether it's you know, Moonshineville, Kentucky, where Kent lives, or it could be California, you know, anywhere. But if you're just out and about and you're dressed like that, people look at you like you're a fucking idiot for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be staring at your shirt and looking at you, and it's like, oh, okay, you know.
Driving around in a remake costume. You ever tried driving in one of those?
I have not. I don't intend to.
It's challenging. Because I mean, I went back to one of the comic conventions here, and I was in costume, and the wife wasn't coming, so I need help putting on this hood and this and that, and the wife wasn't coming, so I got dressed and I drove the car as Jason Voorhees. It was challenging. Yeah, it was challenging.
You know what the worst part about full Jason getup, especially Part 7, though, is a lot of people don't talk about this, is dick sweat. That's the worst part of full latex bodysuits.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, though, through some of my travel experiences with Ari and First Jason, there's been times where the band will be playing at a bar somewhere or whatever, some metal club or just whatever. And it's not necessarily a concert venue that might have a dressing room that's appropriate or whatever. And parking might not be next to the building. And there's been times where I can remember one show a couple of years ago, we were in Chicago, I think it was, and a busy ass area where you got to park a ways away. So I'm legit changing into my costume, and it's cold out, but I'm legit like changing on the side of the street, and there's like people walking by. It's like nothing to see here, people, you know, like totally fucking weird, right? So once then I'm in costume and I have to walk like 6 blocks to the venue. And it's just, I don't want to say chaotic, but people are like, what the fuck is going on? Who's this fucking loser out here walking around in this fucking, most of them think you're Michael Myers because they're bozos, but you know what I mean? Like, so there's been a lot of, I guess, awkward times where I've kind of been in that same situation, not driving, but in awkward situations, having to walk somewhere, you know?
You know, I was in North Carolina one time. Me and the family had stayed in this old It was a cotton mill that had been refitted to be a hotel. It was a building from like the early 1800s. So it was kind of, and it was in this little like village area that had been remade. It was kind of touristy, but we went down there. I think it was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But there was a convention center like maybe an eighth of a mile from the motel we were staying in, the hotel we were staying in. And they had a furry / anime convention going on there, I guess. And I remember like I had this like really like self-realization moment where I was watching these people walk around and I was in my head thinking, you fucking nerds, you guys, wow, this is awful. And then I went, oh, that's like what normal people think about me when I'm walking around at my horror convention. They're just thinking you bunch of fucking nerds. So it was a big self-realization moment for me.
I don't feel like they look at me as like a nerd. I feel like they look at me, or us, I should say. They're like the normal community. Like I said, if you're standing next to Meth Head Ted at the Dollar General wearing your fucking Friday the 13th shirt, everybody's not looking at him. They're looking at you like you're a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
That's what I would expect them to think. Not like, oh, this guy's a fucking nerd. No, they think like something's wrong with you.
I think I
know
just
what I mean?
look like a guy that's like at a Kia dealership trying to buy a car. I don't like, maybe I work at Dollar General. That's probably what I look like. I don't think I look like a horror fan at all.
Yeah.
No, I get worried sometimes when you do these conventions that the props, the machetes and the axes. I got Tim Miller lives not too far from me, about an hour or two away, and I get all my prop weapons and stuff like that from him. And some of these machetes and axes, I mean, I'm waiting for someone to be like, he's got an axe, and get shot. You know what I mean? Or a machete or whatever. I mean, because they look so real, even though they're fake. They're made out of rubber or these dull down, stainless steel, whatever. I'm always worried that I'm going to get shot by a cop, saying, just walking around with this long machete or this axe. That's what I worry about.
Well, speaking of the prop weapons, have you thought about expanding your shop to offer those too?
No, I can't beat Tim. I send everybody up to Tim. I mean, there's a couple other guys, Escape Theory Studios. I know Oz makes some buck knives and stuff like that, but doing the casting and the making with the rubber and stuff like that, Tim does it so well. I think he just got picked up by Trick or Treat Studios to make their the knives. I'm trying to think of the name of the knife.
Yeah, he did. I think it was the H1 knife, if I'm not mistaken.
Tim's got the stranglehold on the weapon and prop making community right now. He can't really be topped, and I don't see that happening in the future either.
No, definitely. He's got everything, whether it be from Halloween or through Friday the 13th. I mean, he's got everything on straight lockdown. So yeah, there's not really any competition there. I was just curious if maybe he was going to step outside the costuming and offer some other products.
Oh, sorry guys, I lost you. I'm back now.
Yeah, no worries. So anyways, we're going to wrap this up here shortly, but any new or if you're not going to do props, anything else that's maybe new in the works outside of the costumes in general?
I make there's this haunted garage sale I make every year. It's show up for one day, sell what you got for 4 hours, and that's it. I make like scarecrow like latex hoods that I make like a half a year so I could sell them at this convention. But it's like kit bashing. You take these old crappy latex hoods or masks and you kind of wrap them with latex and burlap and fabric, and I sell those. I do plan on redoing some of the Part 7s pieces. But other than that, I just kind of stick to the costumes and the little scarecrow hoods I make on the side. But other than that, man, I don't know what's due for J3. I'll have to sit and think about that one.
Gotcha. And for those that are in the works or thinking about a costume, he definitely has our recommendation. So go check out J3 Jason Costumes. Any final thoughts from the Kenton?
No, man, I'll vouch for Jim. He's a good dude. I've known him for years. Go to him if you're looking for, if you're wanting a balance between quality and price. He's just affordable and he's a good dude to deal with. He's pleasant, and I recommend you 100%, man.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you really guys for having me on the show.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you. Now, you said you are for sure going to be at Horror Hound Indianapolis coming up here.
I'm going to make it, baby. I'm going to come on down.
Now, is that just as a spectator, or are you going to have a vendor table set up?
Oh, do they allow costumes to be on while this is going on? I've never been there, so I'll hopefully come down in costume and
oh yeah, there's fucking tons of people just walking around in costumes. That's no big deal. But as a vendor, you could have costumes set up at your table or hockey masks or just whatever. Either way. But no, if you were just coming down as a spectator to this show and you said, I'm just going to hang out and walk around and just, check shit out, but you wanted to wear your costume for a while, yeah, you can do that.
Oh, that's sweet, man. Yeah, definitely. But I'll probably come as a spectator. It'll be my first time. And I definitely want to walk around and meet everybody.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely have some drinks at that show. I'll be there. Kenton will be there. Ben will be there. I'm not sure about Lando. He brought it up earlier. He came last year. He flew in last year for it, but I'm not sure if he is this year. So, yeah, we'll definitely catch up with you there. But for the listeners who do want to contact you about a costume or any type of work, what avenues would be the best route? Obviously, your Facebook page, but how would they just contact you in general since you don't have a website?
Oh, just message me through Messenger through the page. I've been wanting to do a website, but I feel that I would be way over my head. I would be too busy, and I'd be mass produced, and the detail and the customer service definitely go down to the toilet. So I'm just going to stick to the Facebook. It works really well. I do have an Instagram, same thing, J3 Costumes, and if you want to see some videos, it's up on YouTube as well. I think Jason Voorhees Costumes is very basic. All my links are to the page from the YouTube. So just go check them out.
Gotcha. Well, there you have it. Jim Ingram from J3 Jason Costumes. We appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that wraps up another episode of Return to Camp Blood. So please rate and review wherever you listen to the show at. Also check us out on Facebook at Camp Blood Podcast, and please leave us a review there. We would definitely appreciate it. To check out our back episodes, you can find those on our website, campbloodpodcast.com. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to drop us a line. Until next time.